Good morning everyone. Oh my goodness, what am I up to now? I was going to show you some different tutorials, but I'm quite excited. I'm going to do something else and it's a mystery until I'm finished. So if you want to join along, you need some green yarn. So go find yourself some green yarn and some 4mm needles or the equivalent. I'm sorry, I don't know what they are anymore in UK or if you have a US. And don't forget at the beginning, you cast on your 32 stitches. Cut yourself a piece of waste yarn first in the same colour. And then I do this with all my little Izzy dolls. So this is a mystery Izzy doll. And then I just thread it through the stitches on my needle and I leave it there. Now that's how I pull my feet in, if you want them pulled in like this. But also if you're going to sew them across, it means that you can clearly see that very end stitch and it makes a very, very clean, tidy bottom to the shoes. But we're not going to have separate shoes or gumboots. We're going to have the legs and the shoes the same colour. So once you get all your stitches threaded up down the bottom here with your waste yarn, we're going to knit in stocking stitch. Now I had a separate video of my recipe and I hope this isn't too shiny. So look for my other video where I haven't got the plastic on. It saves the paper from getting worn out and torn. I use it so much. We're going to do the shoes and the pants the same colour. So we're going to add 14 and 4. And it's going to be about 18 because I want to make sure I finish on a knit side row. So it doesn't matter if you have 18 or 17. It doesn't really matter. It's not that important. So go ahead and knit your approximately 18 rows, and when you've finished doing those, then we'll come back and see what else I'm going to be doing. So what can be all green? We'll see, but it looks so cute. So I hope I can do it justice. It's going to be very cute and absolutely hilarious if it doesn't look cute. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I have done my 18 rows and I made sure I included counting from number 1 where the waste yarn is up here. So here's my 18 rows. Now I'm going to do, there is a jersey, so I'm going to use this beautiful little lemon, very light yellow, a lemon colour for a jersey. And it's just a cheap yarn that we have here in New Zealand, a needles yarn. But you can use any yarn, and as you can see, I'm not using scraps. You don't have to wait until you have scraps. You can just use a little bit from your larger balls of wool because it doesn't take up much if you want to save those balls for other projects. You honestly don't use much making these little Izzy dolls. Now, somebody said to me, do I carry the yarn or do I actually cut the yarn and when I change the colours? So I'll show you what I do. It's nothing professional, and I cut the yarn because I use the ends to sew up the back when I join it together. I use that same colour yarn for each part that I sew up. If I was doing stripes and only doing, say, 2 rows of a colour and doing 2 colours, I would probably try and carry the yarn. I'm just a bit worried that you end up seeing the yarn. So this is my very easy, basic way of changing the colours. Oh, hang on a minute. So I'll cut off the old colour, and then I just put my needle in. I pick up my yarn and I just put it over so I'm holding the both ends, and then I do a knit stitch, and then I just put it in the next stitch so I don't drop my needle, because usually sitting on my lap I end up dropping the needle out. And then I find the two ends, it's going to look a bit haphazard, and I make sure they're pulled tight, the two shorter ends, sorry, hope you can see, and then I just tie them together in a knot, nice and tight. And that way, and I do this with cardigans I'm making, I do this with my crochet, I do that with everything, nothing fancy at all. And so this piece of green, when I sew up the back, will be used for the green, and a piece of lemon will sew up the back of the jersey. So that's just a simple way. And when you start knitting again, make sure you're using your long piece of yarn. I have been known to start knitting my row with a short piece and then having to undo it. Now for the jersey, on this, it's a bit shiny, sorry, it says 12 rows. So approximately 12 rows, just as long as you end up with your knit side up. Now, don't look at these projects as, oh, look what she's made, that's so hard, I can't do that. If you go through my separate little videos and you do the little bits by little bit by little bit, all the stages, you work up to getting it finished. I certainly would never have looked at this and thought, I can do that. Never in a million years. I started by doing his gumboots, I started by doing his legs, and I worked my way up and added little bits to him. So don't look at these projects that people are doing thinking, I can't do that. You can do your 18 rows, it's very simple, just work your way up. And so now we're going to do 12 rows in stocking stitch, and you can see now it immediately starts working, and where I started, it's on the yellow or the lemon. You can't see the green. But I do have separate tutorials in my other playlist. It's called My Tutorials, on how you do the knit stitch and how you do the purl stitch. The way I do it, which is a bit of an old-fashioned way, but that's okay. I'm happy with the way I knit, and I'm not going to try and learn anything else, but there are faster ways and different ways to hold your needles. As you can see, I'm holding them like this, other people hold them like this. My mother held them like this somehow, but apparently your knitting gets heavy. I can have a great big blanket on my yarn, my lap, and it would never get heavy because I'm holding it like this, so it's always sitting on my lap, and so my hands don't get too sore. So I don't knit blankets, so the yarn in New Zealand is very expensive. It adds up to too much. So I'm just going to keep going with my 12 rows. So go off and find yourself a different colour, or you can do stripes if you want to change colours every couple of rows, or whatever you want to do. And just do your next 12 rows, and then we'll come back and we'll do the head or the face bit, and then the head. So it's just doing it step by step, which makes it very simple. And I wonder if you've guessed what I'm making yet. You won't know yet, will you? I'm calling it a mystery Izzy doll until I get it finished, and then I'll have a picture of the whole thing. But let's see if you can guess what I'm actually making. All right. I will come back when I change colours back to the green again for the face. See you soon. Okay, so I ended up doing 11 rows in the lemon colour for my jersey. So it's 11 or 12 rows, it's just approximate, as long as you end up with your knit side up towards you. And then I have joined back again to my green, which is going to be for my face. So not sure if you've guessed yet what we're making. And then don't forget, I should have reminded you to make sure you have a piece of waste yarn so that you can pull in the neck. And so you do the same as the bottom. Get yourself a nice big needle so that you can thread the yarn through. This green yarn's quite thick. So just use whatever yarn you have. It doesn't matter what ply it is, what thickness it is. Just use the appropriate needles for your yarn. So you can use a very thin yarn and small needles to make tiny, tiny little pocket buddies, as I call them. Or you can use bulky yarn and big needles to do a great big cuddly toy. You can make it whatever you like. So I'm just going to thread through my waste yarn, and this is what will be used to pull in the neck. And then I'm going to do about 9 or 10 rows in the green for my face part. And then I will do a separate video still using the green, so don't cut it off, for the decreasing for the head or the beanie part. But I'm not doing a beanie, it's the head part. So leave the green on there, don't go cutting it off. So I will see you back for the next video. So just do your green and then we'll see if you can guess what we're doing. But I need to go, after I've done this little part for the face, I need to go and mow some lawns. They're getting awfully long now. So I will be back with the next video later. Bye.